Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dr. Glenn Vo, and I'm super excited to have, it's a mutual friend of mine, okay? One of my good friends, his former business partner, is Adam Zilko of Firegang Marketing. Adam, what's up, man?
Hey, buddy. Good to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Man, I actually have known, I have to admit, I've known you for a while. I've been kind of like semi-stalking you, and we got connected by mutual friends. So I'm super excited to have you on because, man, you guys have been doing stuff that's been amazing in the dental space for quite some time. I definitely wanted to get you on to pick your brain. And guys, if you're wondering, I am recording live from the Millennium Falcon. Adam's just in his office.
Right.
I have a pretty cool background. I'll probably be changing out throughout our live stream here. And so, Adam, let's start with this. For those who don't know who you are, okay, which is very few, right? But for those who don't know who you are, who are you? Tell us about Firegang, and how did you get sucked into this crazy world of dental marketing?
Man, I get asked this a lot. We started in 2010, and I worked at a pretty large marketing firm. They did about $1 billion in revenue. I oversaw a region, and they were transitioning from kind of the print world into digital, and I helped them with that. And I saw an opportunity and decided to split out and start a company. Early on, we worked with a lot of different small medium businesses, and we had a lot of success with dental practices. I have friends, close friends, people that I knew before college and in college, best friends and everything that were dentists. And started doing work for them, and they just exploded, and so we decided to kind of niche into that.
Yeah, I love that, man. And like I said, you guys have been around for quite some time. I've been kind of following you guys from afar, and we have a mutual friend, Jake Poole, who used to work with you, and he highly recommends you guys. And he's kind of one of the founders over at DEO. And to me, it's like if a guy like him says, man, this guy's legit, I'm like, that definitely made my ears perk up there. And so I'm super excited to bring you on because you bring so much experience, number one, right? Because look, man, dentistry, there's one thing that every dentist can say, and that is, man, there's always a marketer trying to talk to us, right? There's always a marketer that says that they're the next best thing. They do all these different things. They understand our business. But the thing with Firegang is that you guys take it multiple levels up, right? Multiple levels up. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about the difference between, a guy that messages you on Facebook, right? That says, hey, I can get you more implant patients, right? I could do that, right? And that's what they do, right? Or someone that says, hey, I'm going to build you a website. What's the difference between people who offer like that one-off, product, and then someone like you guys are truly like comprehensive? Because like marketing, it's almost like, hey, who do you use for marketing? I was like, what do you mean by that? Who do you use for marketing? Nowadays, we're like, I use this guy for mailers. I use this guy for Facebook ads. I use this guy for websites. I use this guy for this, and this. And you guys have a different philosophy. You guys are like, well, marketing, especially digital marketing, is all kind of comes together. It's like a really good like soup that has every little component there, right?
Right.
So let's talk about that philosophy, that Firegang philosophy.
Right. So one of the things that we see right now in the marketplace, and I'll map some of this out, but there is there's a significant number of new people joining, kind of like you see in people that want to be YouTube stars. You see people jumping into the marketing space. I'm in some pretty large Facebook groups, and I'm constantly seeing people saying, just asking the most rudimentary questions about marketing, and they're already out selling to businesses. And the thing that scares me, it's like, they're going to learn on their dime and they have no idea what they're doing. And it's so prevalent. They'll ask somebody that's potentially experienced, how do you do this? Or what does this mean? And it's just everywhere. We've not only done this for a long time, we have a large team, but our approach to that is completely unique to marketing for dentists than anyone else. And it's really an integrated approach. And I'll break down what that means, but it's really driven on data and around, looking at the right metrics and the KPIs and so on.
I love that. I mean, I can't wait to get into that deep dive with you. And guys, if you like what you're hearing right now, type in the comments section. Let's say fire, right? Because Adam's about to go on fire right now. He's going to drop some fire bombs here that's going to blow your mind there. And that's the thing. Like when I talked to you, we talked about like marketing, all the different things there. You were like, look, I mean, it's all about it's all about ROI, right? We don't get caught up on how many leads I send you. It's all about how did we make you more profitable? And I'm like, wait, hold up, man. Hold up, man. That doesn't sound, you don't sound like a normal marketer to me. Most of the time you guys are like, hey, I'm going to send X amount of patients to you. And here you go. I'll throw a bunch of patients. Good luck. Right. But you guys are different.
Right. And I'll walk you through that. What we're seeing a lot in the marketplace as well is this kind of push to create pretty sites or, tell stories, but it doesn't necessarily drive the end result, which is revenue.
Yeah.
And if we really want to grow practice, what I'll do, Glenn, is let me share my screen here. I'll walk you through a couple of things that I put together.
And while Adam's doing that, guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and type in the comments section, what your questions are, and I will get Adam to answer it. But hey, Adam, I just got a message right here. And can you just answer this one question? This question just came up, and they were just asking, this doctor's asking, okay, well, I've seen websites with a lot of cool graphics and a lot of videos, and I know some of my friends have paid for that, and it's very expensive, but is that something that I should invest into?
Usually no. I mean, here's the thing, like it's to put out something that's great on the front end, if you don't have everything else also being, worked on and dialed in, and you don't have the KPIs in place, and you're not focusing on the right end result, you're likely still not going to succeed. I've seen amazing sites completely fail, and I've seen poor sites and it's all subjective, and that's the problem with this, is it's all subjective. If you have measurable metrics and you've got those in place, you know what you're looking for, then you have something to model against.
Yeah.
But it's hard to come in and say, well, this site's prettier, so it's going to do better. Well, or this video content's better, and you have a better, story to tell. You have a better, whatever it is. That's all subjective. How do you measure that? How do you measure the outcome? And let's say you do this, you build this great site, and it's and you think it's the most amazing thing out there, but it doesn't rank on Google, or it doesn't, or you have issues on the phones, or you have issues with case acceptance, or you're attracting the wrong types of patients to begin with, or your churn rate is high in your practice. I mean, I'm getting into like more the operational, which is where we're going to go here on this, but you can't like just say, okay, well, I'm going to build something that's subjective and then say, well, that's enough. I'm going to invest all this money into something subjective, and that's enough.
Well, Adam, it sounds like what you're saying. Adam, it sounds like what you're saying. It's like going to a pizza place that looks beautiful from the outside, and the pizza tastes horrible.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, if your KPI is great pizza, then you're not gonna you're gonna look at that. You're also gonna probably want to taste it and so on. But the business is much more complex too. And it's
or you have a beautiful pizza place, right? And let's say that your pizza is good, but when you go in there, no one's there to greet you, and no one's there to seat you. There's no one. Right. There's no team members there, and people walk in, they get mad, they walk right out.
Right. So, I mean, and that'll destroy business too. I mean, service is one of the biggest things that you can have. I talk a lot about data-driven marketing, and this is kind of a scaled down view of what we explain to practices that are looking to engage with us. But this is a way to kind of explain what our philosophy looks like when we approach the industry and marketing and so on. Because without this, you're going to fail. Maybe you won't, but typically you will. And now you may be doing some of this, and the marketing was just the last piece to get you over that hump. Great, but we have, how many practices out there saying, well, I tried this company and it failed, or I did this and it didn't work, or this marketing company was bad. Sometimes it's a marketing company, sure, but other times it's a business, or there's a combination of like multiple things that aren't optimized throughout. So the biggest thing here to start with is obviously the KPIs, right? So what we want to have is we're going to focus on KPIs. We want to have our execution in place, right? And then we need consistency. So when I know what I'm going to measure against, what I'm focused on, what I'm benchmarking against, and I can execute on that, what that typically gives me is focus. That tells us what direction we need to take. So for example, if my KPIs on the phones were 70% conversion rate, on the thaw is just a roundabout number. And I know that I'm coming in at 40%. I know where to focus.
Yeah.
But if you engage with a marketing company and they don't look at that, and you don't have that KPI in place, and nobody's tracking that, and they don't know how to fix it, you're going to struggle. I mean, and that's just one piece of this entire process. Now, let's say that you have your KPIs in place and you have consistency. What does that give you? It gives you predictability. And then if you have execution and consistency, that gives us progress. Okay, so one of the things that we see a lot of times is that a practice will begin to execute, but they won't stay consistent with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so they'll come in, they'll hire a coach, or they'll hire a some service to level up their team, or they'll hire a marketing company that'll start to do the right things, but they will not stick with it. And so it's like a flash in the pan. You start to move in the right direction, you let off the gas, all of a sudden things begin to fall back. And so without consistency, you don't have progress. And without consistency, you don't have predictability. You have to have predictability in your model because you need to know that you can replicate it. Now, when you have all these things in place, and again, this is just a very refined down version. If somebody was engaged with us, we'd talk further through it. That's when you get success. Right? And hopefully you can read my handwriting. I had to shrink it.
It looks good, man.
Yeah,
I love how this diagram is, because so many times, so people think that it's just, when it comes to marketing, it's just like, okay, hey, marketing company, you do all this, you get me the patients, and then we don't ever assume that, hey, there's something we have to play. It's a team, right? It's a partnership, right? I mean, it's like, you getting the patients to the office is only one facet. And that's why I'm so excited about bringing you on, because you really could kind of just lay it out, because so many companies, they're like, okay, yeah, we sent this, and your team sucks or something like that or whatnot. Right. And it becomes a blame game.
It does.
But you've been passionate about that. You've told me, you're like, hey, Dr. Vo, I'm passionate about not playing that blame game. We want to tell your team that they're so freaking awesome and that we're all working together really good. So I just wanted to throw out there, and I'm super excited to see what you have here about the progression of dental marketing.
Yeah, so I mean, when you look at how things have evolved over the years, and we've kind of rode this, since when I started with my previous company, that billion-dollar marketing company, and then moved out into doing this. I've watched digital marketing or dental marketing kind of evolve, and I refer this mostly towards the digital space because that's where we operate in. And when you look back at this, you're going to remember it used to be all about rankings, right? So the big thing in online marketing was, I'm going to get you to page 1. Okay. Yeah. Well, that only took you so far because, Google got smart. They started to push people down. People evolved, and the marketing systems began to become, much better, really. And so then the industry began to move into lead gen. So you've got a lot of practices, or marketing companies still focusing on lead generation. Mm-hmm. Even today, I see most companies still operating right here. And that, to me, isn't enough. So then you get into focusing on new patients. So now, and this is something that Firegang evolved to do over the years, is to say, okay, I can send you leads, but can I help get those new patients in the door? What do I need to do to get people to actually show up? Okay. But we then realized that wasn't enough. Everyone wants new patients right now, but what happens when you don't have the right types of patients, or they can't spend money, or it's not working out? And that's where you get into the ROI. So that's when, some marketing companies will say, okay, well, I'll help you get new patients, but then I'll also help you improve your ROI. The pinnacle here, though, and this is the area, this is where Firegang has moved to, and I'll explain how in a minute here. But the last pinnacle here to this is, let me grab a different color here. Revenue generation.
So I have to tell you something here, man. So for those who are watching right now, I had a pretty long conversation with Adam before we brought him on. I did my due diligence. I talked to mutual friends. I talked to former clients. I even had a conversation with him. And I'll tell you right, this part right here, revenue generation from a marketing company. It's the first time I've ever heard this. I've heard everything else. Ranking on Google, lead gen, new patient. So when he said that, I'm like, what? That's like, you guys are going beyond what we think marketing companies do. And so, so Adam, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you a few weeks ago. Why are you doing this that's so different from what everyone has been doing?
Because one, if you do what everyone else is doing, then how do you improve? You become a commodity, and then it's, you know, a race to the bottom. The other thing though is that I've identified that if I don't focus on what the practice needs to focus on at the same time, even if they don't know that they need to focus on, then our goals aren't aligned. So case in point, I mean, we've worked with thousands of practices over the years, right? And I've seen so many times where we'll come in and we'll do amazing work with lead gen, right? We'll do amazing work with new patients. Hell, there's even some cases where the ROI is really good. It's usually always the case. ROI is excellent as well. But they're still saying, well, my business isn't growing, or I want to try something new, or something's still not working out. And that's when we start to say, okay, well, what else is broken here? Because why in the world would you want to jump ship on something that's working incredibly well, where you're getting not only the leads, but the patients, and the ROI is great? Well, it's because potentially the practice isn't generating enough revenue. It's not moving in the right direction. So how do I tie all those things together? Because what I found is that most companies that hire a marketing company, most dental practices, they don't have somebody else looking at all the other facets of the business that are causing these roadblocks or these barriers for this generation of revenue. Now, that one barrier might be high churn rate, or it might be issues with case acceptance, or it may be on the phones, right? So there's a lot of things. When we started coaching on the phones, we were the only ones in the industry doing it from a marketing perspective. And it changed a lot of things for us. We've begun in some of our other products, like our implant funnel product, we'll actually work the leads for the practices. We'll actually call those leads, schedule them, and help get them in the door, because we find that the front staff won't do it. So how do we remove obstacles and roadblocks to get the outcome to where we need it to be? And that's the end outcome always for any business is revenue generation, right? That's what we want to focus on. And that has been my focus and my vision for a long time. Now,
it's so different. That's why I bring it up. It's so different because we are so used to a certain way that marketing companies work. And I love the fact that you guys want to be a real partner in this, because at the end of the day, it's this, right, guys? At the end of the day, it's all about how much more revenue did you increase by working with a company, right?
Right.
It doesn't matter if you get a bunch of new patients. If you got a bunch of new patients and you didn't make any money, does that help anybody out? No. It doesn't matter if there's a bunch of leads, because if you didn't make any money, that doesn't help. And so and this is probably another Facebook Live, Adam, that we will have to bring this up. I almost want to call you guys not a marketing company. I almost want to say you guys are a revenue generation company.
Well, that's what we're moving to. And one of the things, Glenn, you and I talked to, and I'll ask you not to repeat this because I don't want you to uncover the name of the company we're going into business with, but we have started down the path of acquiring a software company to help get us more data to hook into practice management softwares that dental practices have, so that we can tie all this together. Because the vision has to be, it's all got to be data, and I got to be able to get that as best I can.
Well, guys, that'll be another Facebook Live.
It will be.
That'll be another one. Okay, so Adam, let's keep going here. I just I have a question. Let's take this question really quick here. And this doctor's asking, okay, so we understand the progression of dental marketing. Where do you think most companies in the space right now, most dental marketing companies, where do you think they focus most of their attention? I don't know if you can go back to that slide.
I'm going to walk you through that right now. But
okay, great.
Well, let me just walk you through the natural progression, and then I'll show you exactly where they sit.
Okay.
So when you look at the new patient journey, and this isn't all of it, like this, when you look at the final $3 signs here, the journey's far past that when you're talking about revenue generation. So, that could be, long-term churn rates. It could be operationally, what are your accounts receivable on that money, or what is your production by, doctor per day versus hygiene per day? There's other things that go into this from an operational perspective, but we get into that with a revenue generation model, but I won't tie too much of that into this just yet because this has to do with the new patient journey. So what we look at is what we know is that, patients are going to start their journey at home. They're going to go online. They're going to look at Facebook, Google, wherever. They're going to potentially look at your reviews. They're going to look at your website. They're going to potentially call you, schedule, come in, hopefully spend more money, or spend more money, and spend more money. They're going to ascend, essentially. But there's market factors at each one of these stages, right? So let's say they go to Google or Facebook, they don't find you, they never move forward, right? So you never got a crack at them. Or you were seen, but your reviews weren't great. They never moved forward. Or they got to your website, it wasn't great, they didn't proceed any further. Or they called you, but your phones weren't answered, or your staff didn't know what to do, and so they never progressed. Or they couldn't find a time that worked, or they never showed up, or they didn't spend any money, or you couldn't send them because maybe there's a case acceptance issue, or you didn't have an option to send them further, or weren't able to, or there's a churn. They left you at some point there. Now, in marketing, what you see a lot of times they're focused on is turning these red arrows into green arrows. So we're saying, okay, well, how do we get you to show up on Google or Facebook and convey the message that we want to convey? How do we differentiate you amongst all your competitors? But that's not enough, right? We have to have good reviews because social proof matters. Yeah. But then we have to have a good site, and this needs to be a data-driven site. It can't be just a pretty site because, again, how do you determine the subjectivity of that? Like, what are your KPIs as to what a good site is? What do the conversion rates need to look like versus a pretty site? And then your phones, right? So you need to get those phones up. And from there, what we're looking at is scheduling. So how do we open up the schedule for the right days, right times? Make sure that, maybe we have online options. How are we accommodating that? Now, in all the years of doing this, listening and with our staff listening to phone calls, we have coached countless practices on how to optimize their calendars and get the right people in at the right times, where to bracket them, and so on. Show rates, okay? What does that look like? And do you need to do something in terms of like follow-up reminders, other offers, things to get them in the door? Are you getting the right people in, and are you getting them sold? And do you have a way to ascend them? What's your case acceptance look like? And can you get that further? Now, most marketing companies today, still, they operate between right here and right here. And that's such a limited spot. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot that has to be done there, right? That's where Firegang started, and we still have to execute here incredibly well, and we do. Most of my team is still focused on that because that's a lot of work. Building a site, running the ads, making sure that you're differentiated in the market.
But that part is very expensive too.
It is.
I mean, think about it. Trying to get the ranking, trying to get the right ads in front of the right people, the ad spend, all that stuff, that gets really expensive, and it's very demoralizing. You spend all that money, you get those people, and then you get beyond that blue little line, and it falls apart over there.
Well, and that's the thing, Glenn, is that let's say that you did this between the black brackets, right? And let me just label this as like marketing world.
And guys, for those who are watching right now, if you like what you're seeing, if you want a Nifty deal, and I'm telling you, this Nifty deal is going to be good. If you want a Nifty deal, you got to type in the comments section, FIRE, okay? Also, if you have some questions, message them, put it in the comments. You can message me too. I'm reading my messenger right now. If you have any questions, just send it to me, and I will send it up the line to Adam. All right, Adam, sorry about that.
So let's say that you
engaged.
Yeah, within marketing world, you are crushing it. Your conversion rates are through the roof. You have the top spots on Google. You have the best reviews. You have the best website in the world, but you're converting at a 30% on the phones. And I see this all the time. Even coming out of COVID with practices that were in the 70, 80 percentile, right? So you're now converting 1 in 3. 2/3 of your business from all of the money that you spent in marketing world is gone. 2/3. You've got to spend 3x more for every patient to come in the door. Now, let's say that I take that and I turn that 30% into, 60%, which is very doable, or 70 or 80%, which is also very doable. What does that do? That doubles, if not, almost triples the number of new patients coming into your practice from marketing for the same money spent. Now, let's say that I apply that principle going forward. And we look at, well, who's getting scheduled and are they showing up and what are they spending and what is, and are they ascending, right? And what does the churn rate look like? And are they referring and so on and so forth? And then we get into all of the operational stuff. Are you collecting on that money? What do your accounts receivable look like at, 30, 60, 90? What do your production numbers look like for, hygiene or dental? What, are you competitive in your rates? What about with insurances? So what we did is we've mapped this all out, and we also went out and brought in some of the best dental coaches to help us create the right KPIs so that when we onboard a practice, we go through a scorecard. We map out 25 different major KPIs that we need to focus on, okay? And some of those will be marketing related, so cost per acquisition and all the relevant data there, but all the way through the back end. What's going on in the practice? And now we have areas to focus on. Because again, when we come back up, we need to know where to focus. Okay? So we execute on the right things that are needed to move the needle. And we work with practices throughout that process. But it's coming in and knowing that and starting out and building that framework and then helping them to ascend at each stage. So, I know that there's a lot here, and this is really, really, like, I don't know, lack of a better word, dumbed down to show kind of what it is. But this is the philosophy, is that at every one of these red arrows, okay, if you do not get these into the green line, you don't move patients forward or you don't generate revenue.
So I just got a question right here. And this doctor's asking about, okay, well, we only know what we know. How do we know if we were working with you guys, how do we know if things are getting scheduled right and phone calls are answered the right way? How do you guys let us know that?
Yeah, so we actually listen.
So I guess we're kind of jumping. I know that's kind of jumping the gun there, but this doctor.
Oh man, great question.
They know this is great, but how you guys track it?
So we have a team of people that listen to and tag every single phone call that comes through practice from marketing. Every single call that comes through, we have a full system built out, and we tag every single call as to what happened. Was it answered? What did they call for? Was it converted? We have an entire system, and that system rolls up into data. And so then we have trend lines of, okay, Jennifer at the front staff, at the front desk is converting at 38%, and Tiffany is converting at 67%. And here are their trend lines month over month, and here are the things that are coming in, and here are the patient types. And we're looking at that. And what we do is we feed that data up into our client success team, and they're the liaison for the dental practice, and they get on a call with the practice and say, okay, these are the things that we found. We're going to schedule some time with Jennifer. I think that's the name I use in this analogy. And we're going to help coach her up. And we're going to work with Tiffany too, and we're going to coach her up. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to have them listen to these few calls, and we're going to help them understand how we can improve. And this is a very collaborative experience, because we want them on our side. We want them to engage. And we don't ever want to come in and say, well, you did something wrong, because that's the worst way to coach.
Yeah.
We want to say, hey, I know you're trying hard, great job. Let's help get you to the next step. And this, I mean, I know this is a particular question to ask, but this is particularly important when there's any sort of additional staff that are brought in, whether it be, staff turnover or expansion or whatever, right? If you got somebody new in, or when we saw practices open back up after COVID, we knew, so we advise practices not to close at all. There's a number of reasons. One is one of the things that we saw Google do to a lot of people's rankings on GMB was when they weren't answering their phones, they fell right off at GMB. Google could tell if you're answering your phones. So that hurt a lot of practices. But the other thing, by closing, is you didn't have the consistency in the practice. You didn't have your team still on board. And so you had to try to rehire them back. You weren't open to capture all those excess patients from everyone else that closed down. So the practices that stayed open for us, and I'll show you some numbers here in a minute, are killing. The ones that closed, they're still trying to dig their way back up out of that hole. I mean, it was a night and day difference, and you couldn't be more black and white. But one of the things that we were able to do at Firegang is that because we were able to listen to what people were asking during the closure for the practices that stayed open, we knew what people wanted to know. Do I need to wear a mask? What are you doing for my safety? those related things. And we went out to our practices and said, this is what people are asking, and here's what you need to do about it. But when these new practices, or the practices that closed started opening back up, their staff didn't know. And they had been basically at home for upwards of 2 months.
Yeah.
And they were like, they were just trying to reopen in the midst of like PPE and new policy changes and everything else going. It was a mess. Anyone that had to reopen knows it was a mess.
Wow.
It was a nightmare. So what happened? Well, their phones started tanking, and we had to get after that and say, listen, 3 months ago, you guys were converting at 80%. Now you guys are down in this 30%. We've got to get that up, and we got to do it ASAP.
Yeah.
If we weren't looking at that metric, how long does that go on? That goes on for months.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's so detrimental to dental practice.
Oh my gosh.
But that's just
I mean, that's an eye opener, because the thing is like I said, everyone in the marketing world lives within those brackets right there. And that's all, I mean, we have different companies out here that talk about those different things, and they're good companies, right? There's good companies, right? But when we're talking about comprehensive, right? Let's put it in a dental's perspective. Okay. Patient comes in, emergency exam. Okay. You get them out of pain, but you know that you need to get them in for a comprehensive, because there's other things you got to look at.
Exactly.
And I love the fact that you guys have this here. Okay. So, no one's asked this question, but I want to ask you guys. Okay, so you got the coaches that come on and help out, right? You got the people who are listening to calls that are going to help coaching and whatnot. It almost seems like it's a comprehensive plan. It's not like, hey, I just want to come in here and, hey, can you just do my reviews? Or, hey, can you just do my Facebook ads? Or, hey, can you guys just do my website and I can just go? It sounds like for this to work the way it's supposed to, the way that you kind of see the wave of marketing moving towards, it almost seems like this is a comprehensive thing. You can't just piecemeal and just do one little bitty thing here and expect those results.
Well, it'd be like, let's say you have great reviews, but you don't have a website, or you do have a website, but it's like broken, right? What good does that do you? And so,
or you have a great website and no one's answering the phones, or there's no easy way to schedule them.
Right. And here's the thing, like, we're not going to come in and have to fix everything, almost ever, right? And we won't always be able to fix everything. There's so many things. There's only so much that we can actually do being outside of the office. Now, there are cases, there's many of them, where we've actually sent in a coach firsthand to work with a practice.
Really?
No, absolutely. We've said, okay, we've identified this.
That's a strong commitment right there.
Oh, absolutely. Now, the practice will have to cover that, and usually they'll cover that directly with the coach.
But still, the fact that you guys are even, and that's the thing that I want you guys to really kind of zoom in on, and that is the big reason why we wanted to bring them on and have them work with our community is because, look, we have a lot of good options there. They're really good companies. You guys are well taken care of, but I wanted someone who's going to take that extra step. And when Adam told me it's all about the revenue generation, he wasn't even talking to me like a marketer anymore. He was talking about, like, I want to help grow your practices, because if I can help you grow your practices, that means you're going to help me grow my business. And it's a win-win, right? We don't want to just say, here's your website and, hey, good luck, man. Good luck, right? And with dentists, we are bombarded with like one-trick ponies sometimes. Like I would say this, the Facebook ad people, there's some good ones. We got some good ones in here. But literally, it's like they've taken marketing and said, hey, you just need this landing page and we just do your ads and that's it, right? And the reality,
why that typically fails too, is that there's nobody working the leads. I mean, that we found. Depending on, now, they could be running a terrible campaign too, and that could be the option as to why it wasn't working. But there needs to be a solution every step so that the practice wins and they see that. The one thing also that I hit on early on, back up here, is this consistency. There is a consistency for dental practices to jump every 6 to 12 months. It's like marketing roulette. I want to try the next shiny object again and again and again. And I can't tell you how many times we've had practices that have left us because of, they knew a guy that was cheaper, that was, said they could do all this stuff, only to come back because everything was a mess. Happens all the time. Yeah. But consistency, and what we're doing though to remove that confusion around it, is set better expectations up front. The onus is on us to do a better job, so that doesn't happen too. And by us aligning our metrics up front and having a goal that we're both focused on together, then ideally we'll create that alignment long term.
Well, Adam, can I make a statement and I want to make a statement and then you can tell me that's something that you guys could do, that's a good idea, or you could say, or you can give me your own take. Okay.
Sure.
So I'm
Yep.
just going to throw something out there because I'm a dentist, right? I'm a practicing dentist as well, right? You're in the Nifty Thrifty group, right? So look, of course, I'm the type of guy that's always looking at, hey, what can I do better? What can I save some money? All this stuff, right? But I'm going to say this. When it comes to, look, okay, if you found some gloves or you got a coupon code to get some like a handpiece or something cheap from my group, that's awesome, right? And honestly, I'm going to twist Adam's arm in a little bit to get a nifty deal here. But I'm going to say this. Would it be safe to say that if a doctor comes in and says, hey, I want X amount of ROI, right? Let's say that they sit down with you and like, Adam, let's come up with an ROI. This is what I'm looking for, right? And would it be safe to say that as long as you're getting that, you should be happy with that? And is that something you would be comfortable with? Like if someone came in and says, hey, look, Adam, what's something realistic? Let's just kind of come together and we come up with a number.
No, I mean, in my business, if I, let's say I went out and hired someone to do some sort of marketing that we don't do, right? Whatever it is. If they provided me a great ROI, I would keep doing that all day long.
Yeah, right.
Because I get it. But the thing is we've got practices all day long that are getting stellar ROIs, but their businesses are still struggling.
Yeah.
And why?
So guys, I want to say this. So look, this is coming from the man himself. He says, dude, we have no problem there. And guys, I would say this. I would challenge everyone. This is like, whether it be Firegang or anyone else, if you're getting some good ROI, right? And the marketing man himself just said that you want to stay consistent. Look, if you're getting that already, don't screw it up. Like, Don't screw it up, right? Don't screw it up. Don't leave and then come back and then have to ramp it back up again. I mean, I know that sometimes we want to get a cheaper deal and stuff like that, but if you're getting the ROI there and it's paying for whatever you're paying for is paying for itself and more, there's really no reason to jump out of there. If you've already been doing that, that's okay. But listen to this man. That's not what he's talking about. He's laying it out. He's laying out the process here. So Adam, let's go down that rabbit hole really quick, and we can shift gears. For those who they work with you and they get the good ROI, they're like, hey, my uncle does it now, and I'm going to go to them, and it sucks, right? And they come back. How much behind do they end up falling before you can get them back to before they left?
It's all dependent on who they hired. I mean, sometimes the person they brought in just does a reasonable job. But typically they don't, because they don't have the infrastructure team. And I see this actually more often in like smaller DSOs starting out. They have 4 locations, and they bring in a marketing girl that helped with she did some SEO at some point.
An in-house person.
Yes. And so they stop. Glenn, I could not do all the things my team does full time on one account myself. There's no way. It's impossible. Yeah. And we have systems and whatnot in place that these individuals never will. And we have years of data. I'm thinking right now of a smaller DSO that moved away from us to bring in their own person. And this person, through talking to her, she had no clue what she was doing. She was asking the most basic things of, what does this mean? How do I log into this account? If you're asking me how to log into Google and what what certain parts of AdWords even mean and how it works, you shouldn't be running AdWords for 4 or 5 or 6 locations.
Yeah.
And trying to start and learn on their dime. But again, practices and sometimes owners, they get stuck like in their own way. And
so that with that particular DSO that ended up coming back to you guys, how long did it take them to get back?
Well, that one, the one I'm thinking of is pretty recent, as of like a couple months ago. But there's another one out of Florida, and they signed up for a year. And their director of ops for all the group was adamantly against leaving us. I mean, she fought tooth and nail. Yeah. And the key owner said, well, this guy is it's a nephew and he comes highly recommended. I guess it was a disaster. And so in the moment that the agreement was up, the marketing agreement term was up with him, they jumped right back. And it was about a year. And unfortunately, not only did they go backwards, they didn't grow. And so there's just so much opportunity cost. Yeah. Because we're looking to build month over month over month. Now, there's no guarantee initially that you hire a marketing company and the ROI is going to be there. But if you're looking at the right things and you know why it's not, or what you're focused on and when it should happen, then that's great. That's what you need.
And it goes back to what the focus of Firegang is all about. It's about revenue generation. It's not getting you a bunch of new patients. It's not getting you a bunch of leads. It's not getting your phones to ring. No, it's called bringing more money into your practice. And that's what it's all about. Look, I made a joke with you, Adam. I was like, hey, man, I don't care if my website looks like crap, okay, as long as I'm making money, right? And you're like, that's smart, Dr. Vo. I'm like, really? Yeah, that's really smart. That's what people, people get so caught up on like, hey, I want this thing to look really nice. And what ends up happening is that you fall in love with your own website, but it's not really making money. And that's the whole point, right? You want to get something that looks really nice. Go buy yourself a nice car or something, man. Buy a nice picture or whatever, right? I mean, because that's if you want something to look at, I mean, but the website is meant to make money.
I can't tell you how many times over the years, I mean, countless times over the years where I have either written ad copy or designed a landing page or any number there, any variable there. And I was certain that it was going to outperform the control or it would become the new control. Mm-hmm. And it got decimated because there was a better headline or there was a better layout or there was something else that did better. And I learned early on, I mean, even before starting Firegang, my opinion doesn't matter. Like my subjectivity to this doesn't matter. All that matters is the numbers. Yeah. And you look at like the biggest companies in the world. I mean, you look at political campaigns and the split testing they do, but also look at Amazon and others. It's like they test this and they know their numbers, they know the data. And we split test and look at this. And I am proven wrong so many times. We've got some implant funnels right now that I had, it was a new product and we were transitioning it into something new with a new practice. And I said, all right, team, you guys design this based on what you see. And we had a control that was already killing it. I mean, this control, the ROIs, anyone would be happy to have. But the team created something new, and I'm like, that is ugly. I don't like the colors. I don't like the layout. But it won. It was the conversion rates on it were higher. And I said, and they said, well, what do you want to do? Because I'm the owner, and they're like, they knew how much I liked the old page, or the old mini funnel site. And I said, listen, it doesn't matter what I want. It matters what the data is. You take the one that converts the best because that generates more revenue. That's all it's about here. So anyone that comes in and says, I'm gonna design you out something pretty, and I'm gonna, for lack of better words, like tell your story and do all this stuff. Listen, I love that. I love telling stories. But if there's no KPIs assigned to it, there's no metrics, there's no way to tell what's going on there, and it doesn't, there's no focus on that, then what's the point? Yeah. Because you could put all that up and it could do just like it always did, but you feel better about it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like I said, it's meant to bring more revenue in. That's why
that's all it's about. That's all it's about.
Yeah, if you want something nice, if you want a nice website, just get your own personal website. If you want
data driven, man. Like we want this to be data driven. Now we've extensively tested our sites in a lot, and I'll be flat honest. The number one things, or the two biggest things on sites, are one, differentiating yourself through your language on your site. So telling people what you do, and tangible, we call it tangible uniqueness. So what is a tangible item that you uniquely do or can say that you do? And so we have, we work with practices to create that. And then two, honest to God, real content, like photos and video and testimonials and that kind of stuff. And it doesn't have to be crazy. It doesn't have to be high production. It doesn't matter. I've never seen it matter. I've got sites that crush it, and they've shot video or photos from a cell phone based on our direction, based on our guides. Patients don't care. We live in a YouTube world. Yeah. Like people are used to watching real content shot from a cell phone. So again, like don't overthink it. Just get the right things in place and focus on the content and the messaging, and that gets you like 90% of the way. Yeah. And the rest of it is just like fluff. So then take that money and take that effort and invest it into other things, like how do we get those people on the next step? How do we get them further down this path so that it is driving revenue? How do we remove
Adam, people have been messaging me this, and I've been holding off on it, and now I'm just going to ask you now. You talked about investment, and let's talk about investment, okay? The investment being, obviously, you guys are offering so much more services than other marketing companies. And like I said, there's other companies out there. We have Nifty Deals with a lot of them. And if it makes sense for you guys, go for it. I just wanted to bring someone on that's really kind of looks at everything. I'm not just talking about just the getting the patients in the door, the lead gens, all that stuff. No, I want every step of the way, and I want them to have the support because he talked about it. He had a pretty good sized team, a really great team that can kind of walk you through everything, literally hold your hands through everything. That's what Firegang's all about. So let me ask you this, Adam. Let me ask you this. For the package that you've been talking about, right? Like I said, we can't just do one little bitty thing. No, it's a whole comprehensive package. The package that you recommend that all new clients go through, what is the normal price for that?
It's going to range depending on what they need and what we assess them to need. And that can range anywhere from, maybe $2,500 up to $5,000 or $6,000 a month, depending on what it is that we're doing, depending on ad spends, depending on just a large amount of other things. And what we like to do in a lot of cases is come in and figure that out. So we'll start with
and I like that you said that. You know why? Because there's so many companies out there that says, hey, we got this this one package and there you go, just do it. And wait a minute, I'm a startup. Or wait a minute, hey, wait a minute, I've been open for a while. Or wait a minute, I have this and that. I love the fact that you didn't just throw out like one package there that fits everybody, because I mean, not every practice fits into certain packages.
Right. When we bring a practice on, we start always with a framework, right? It's almost like, a patient calls up, they said, well, my tooth hurts. Well, you've got a process to bring them in. You got to set them down. You're going to ask them some questions, do an exam and x-ray and everything else. That is kind of like our foundational process. We want to come in and assess where the practice is at. Now, if somebody is a startup, we know that we're not starting with any bad practices, if you will, or bad habits, you know what I mean? Or bad apples potentially. So in a lot of cases, if it's a brand new startup, we actually have a different rate for them. And that's more of a kind of we know what we're getting into because we know where we're starting from. If it's a practice though that's large, let's say we get a call from a practice that's already doing, between 3 and 4 million out of a single location. Well, they're really optimized already to get to that point. They have a lot of their stuff figured out. I guarantee their culture is probably really good. They're offering a lot of services. They figured something out that's working. So we're going to dive in and then we're going to figure out how to take it to the next level. And depending on where they're at in business is really where we need to segment this out and figure out how do we get them to that next step. And not really focus on what they're doing right? Because we want to track those things just in case they fall off. But if I come into a practice and I implement all the tracking and I find that, man, they're crushing on the phones. Well, we're still going to track the phones, but we're not going to spend time coaching them, or we're not going to put a lot of everything. We're going to look at, okay, what do we need to do? What else is holding us back? And figuring that out and then solving for it. And that's the goal. Because I don't care what marketing company exists out there, and I've seen them all. There's no one size fits all because every business is different. Every market's different. And while we do know dental and we know what to predict, there's going to be variances within that. No matter what you do, you have to be adaptable to that. And the worst thing you can do is hire someone that's they sell software as a you buy their software, you get a site, and it's just set it and forget it. And then you're left to figure out, okay, well, why doesn't this not work? Well, good luck figuring that out because they're doing the same thing with you as everyone else. That's very scalable. I mean, I can create software and I can sell that for $500 a month and say, hey, you get a website and you get all these great things. But that doesn't result in actual revenue in a lot of cases. There's simply going to be a break somewhere, and you got to figure out what that is.
And that goes back to the whole point, right? Like I said, there's companies out there that can do their. You want more reviews? We got the company for that. You want a new website? We got a company for that. You want some reminders to send to patients? We got a company for that. If you want someone to do an online schedule, we got a company for that. But
we partner with a lot of them. So we work. If it is, let's say for reputation, if it's not something that we have an amazing piece of software for, we partner with those companies. And right now we do. There's several of the companies in your group right now that we've had many year-long, we've been working with for years. We have great relationships with.
Well, that's good to know, because if you guys are scared about booting someone that you have a good relationship, you don't have to, because they play in the same same area. But it's all about a comprehensive approach, right? You're looking at this. I love this chart. I love the fact that you have it on here, because look, you want to live in this marketing world, or are you ready to move on to this other thing? Okay, so Adam. All right, look, man, I mean, you've given every reason why people should work with you guys, should even reach out to you guys. So I'm just gonna put you on the spot, man. I mean, so our members, we are a passionate bunch, but we also know that everyone relies on me to hook them up with awesome deals, to work with you. Like I said, I've been kind of eyeballing you guys for quite some time, and the stars align, and now you are here. And so for those who want to work with you guys, what can you do? What can you do for the Nifty Thrifty Nation here?
Yeah, I think we sent over, let's grab it here. It should be firegang.com/nifty.
Okay. Maybe we can share that site right now. Is it up yet?
Yeah, so let me pull that up.
I
I'm just pulling this up. Let me grab it and share my screen here. Let's see. Let me share. Got it. All right, so if you go to firegang.com/nifty, right? So my team set this up.
Man, we get a book too, man? You didn't tell me about that?
We'll cover shipping on that. We'll set you guys up with a practice assessment
I need a book,
as well.
man, just to throw it out there.
Again?
I said I need a book too, man, just to throw it out there.
Yeah, man. Well, when they go through this process, they'll actually get a comprehensive assessment as well. And we'll chat with them about what we can do next. And then we've got some other offers. I know that people will be watching this for years, but sign up, talk to us, and we're going to hook anyone up through the Nifty.
Oh, man, I love that. Wait. So let me just make sure so that I can hold you to it, okay?
Yeah.
So it sounds like that you're going to offer a free consultation so that they know what they need, right? Is that what you're saying? I want to make sure I heard it right.
Yep.
I love it, man. I love it. Because the thing is like people, they don't know what they need, right? They think they might, maybe they think that, hey, I just need a new tweak my website, but maybe they need something more. Maybe I got everything down, but maybe they didn't realize that they don't have the right systems in place to nurture those leads or to meet those leads, right? And you guys could dive into that.
Absolutely.
Free book.
Yeah, we'll send them a book. We'll sit down with them. We'll chat with them about what they need, and then we'll take care of them on the back end too. I didn't want to, because it's not a one-size-fits-all. I don't want to like throw out an exact number, but we'll absolutely take care of people.
Oh, like I said, we got a Nifty deal there, and whenever you guys talk to them, you guys are going to see what the value is going to be all about. Okay, so Adam, so the best way to get a hold of you guys to get that consultation is through that landing page.
Yeah, because that's going to give them a few extra things as part of the group. So just firegang.com/nifty.
And we'll put that in the comments section, guys. And like I said, if you guys have any more questions, you're going to put it in the comments section. I'm going to make sure that Adam and his team keeps an eye out. I know there's a bunch of questions we couldn't get to, but I got kind of kind of carried away because I was so excited about what you guys are doing. And like I said, I don't know if you guys are really a marketing company more. I think you guys are more of a revenue generation. Guys, if they end up using that, you guys know where it came from. I want to just keep on holding that over Adam's head and get free meals for life. But no, in all seriousness, I love that you guys have made that switch because for far too long, we were stuck in that bracket there. And practices, man, got frustrated. We got frustrated.
Right. I know we didn't have time to get to this today. I hope we do.
Can you promise me one thing, Adam?
Yeah.
Will you come back on later?
Yeah, man.
There's so much stuff there. I got carried away, but I
got so much on COVID.
On later.
I got data right now on COVID that I was going to go to. I know we don't have time, but like practices that shut down, when they open, the ones that stayed open, what that looked like, and what to do going forward, because there's a good chance that we're looking at closures at some capacity coming up and how to get out of that. And
okay, so if you want Adam to come back, type in the comment section, fire, and I'll have to twist the guy's arm. To get him back on. But awesome, man. Adam, hey, thank you so much for jumping on, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for that awesome Nifty deal. We're definitely going to bring him back. He's got so much stuff. I've talked to him for hours about some amazing stuff there. And but we'll definitely get him back on because he's part of the community. He's part of the Nifty group. Adam, I'm sorry, man. You're part of the group now, man. I'm going to have to send you a complimentary T-shirt to make it official. But Adam, thank you so much for jumping on, man. And guys, I'll see y'all later.
Thanks, Glenn.